Good morning, and welcome back to Daily Dhamma, a letter to our children. Today is May 4th, and our reading is No One Expects the Spanish Inquisition. Perhaps we could stipulate, just for argument's sake, that the person we're screaming at right now is probably not the Grand Inquisitor. Let's go further and agree that Hitler and Stalin are dead. Even folks we really dislike are not Hitler or Stalin. So how about we leave them out of public discourse? Civility is a fundamental requirement for a civil society, as it is for a civil marriage. Name-calling has no place in our discourse. One of the problems that comes with vilifying people with whom we disagree is that unless we want to remain at daggers drawn forever, someday we're going to have to make amends and make up. In order to live together, if not happily, at least with some level of courtesy, respect, and civility, we've got to wag a civil tongue. And that's just not possible with the 24-hour news cycle and the rah-rah hyper-partisanship that seems to be all the rage in the Western world these days. How about we give other people the benefit of the doubt? How about we treat other people with the kind of respect that we would like to be treated with? And how about we watch it on the name-calling? Just an idea. Don't know if we can get through these all, but I'm going to give it a shot. The 10 Commandments of Logic. 1. Thou shalt not attack the person's character, but the argument. So no ad hominem attacks. 2. Thou shalt not misrepresent or exaggerate a person's argument in order to make them easier to attack. That is the straw man fallacy. 3. Thou shalt not use small numbers to represent the whole, the hasty generalization fallacy. 4. Thou shalt not argue thy position by assuming one of its premises is true, which is begging the question, yeah? 5. Thou shalt not claim that because something occurred before, it must be the cause. That's the post hoc, propter hoc fallacy, and one of my favorites. 6. Thou shalt not reduce the argument down to two possibilities. That's the false dichotomy fallacy. You're either with me or a turd. 7. Thou shalt not argue that because of our ignorance, claim must be true or false. The ad ignorantium. I probably mangled that. 8. Thou shalt not lay the burden of proof onto him that is questioning the claim. That's burden of proof reversal. Whoever it is that's picking a fight, they need to prove their point. The person who's just standing there doesn't have to do that. 9. Thou shalt not assume this follows that when it has no logical connection. The non sequitur fallacy. And 10. Thou shalt not claim that because a premise is popular, therefore it must be true. So avoid the bandwagon fallacy. Logic used to be taught in school, and the critical thinking is still a really valuable skill. Unfortunately, none of the teachers understand how to employ it. Aha, there you go. Error 11, overgeneralization and simplification. So happy trails to you until we meet again.